The Blue Jackets and Elvis Merzlikins are that awkward couple on the trip that breaks up in the middle of the trip, and then they just have to suffer the rest of the time. Everybody else has to suffer because of it. That's what it feels like right now. So, as Blue Jackets fans, let's suffer through it today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Your Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Hayden. Back with me later this weekend will be my co-host, Jay Foster. I am here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite team and ours, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before you go, I want to say thank you to the everydayers for making this your first listen every day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms. We're free here on YouTube and the SiriusXM app. Lots to cover since the last time I was on. Last time I was on was the day that I found out that Elvis hadn't really requested a trade, rather was looking for a quote new scenario unquote. And several days later, after he plays against the Vancouver Canucks in a win, mind you, a 4-3 shootout win, he says to the media afterwards, no, I did request a trade. So Elvis has formally requested a trade from the Columbus Blue Jackets. And this is, again, this is like Blue Jackets fans. I've just been pleasantly surprised by their reaction to this because it's been minimal. Like, this is just another season as a Blue Jackets fan, is a disgruntled star player wanting out. I don't know if you can call Elvis really a star player, but he's definitely an impactful player because he's a goalie. And he's been the best goalie for the team this year. So for him to be upset about not starting, not even being on the bench for that 5-game stretch between the end of December and now is totally reasonable, actually. I think I definitely took his side in that matter, and he kind of backed it up. He absolutely backed it up with the way that he played against Vancouver. Obviously, that game was not an asterisk. I mean, the Blue Jackets take any win that they can get, although they need to be losing games. They need to be going down. Blue Jackets need to be going that they can get. Probably out of the question to get the dead last spot in the NHL that seems to be fully claimed by the San Jose Sharks. But needless to say, winning only hurts the Blue Jackets. That being said, it was nice for the Blue Jackets to get a win against Vancouver and break the 3-game losing streak. But more importantly, it was great to see Elvis back out there and get a win. And the celebration afterwards, some would say. So I've heard people say he was looking directly at Jarmo Kekalainen's suite. If that's true, I guess more power to him. I don't know really what he wants to say or show to Jarmo. He's requested a trade. Jarmo knows that he wants out. But clearly, he's got some animosity towards the Columbus Blue Jackets front office, which doesn't really help the Blue Jackets front office right now because they're on the hot seat. They were on the hot seat really going into the season with the whole Mike Babcock thing. And I don't think the way that this Elvis situation has played out in their favor. There were some quotes in the media today. I'll hit those later. But just real quickly to wrap up that Canucks game, which my co-host Jay did a great job with a live reaction on that one. And he was right. Vancouver did have some travel issues. And they were playing kind of on a short notice. It was a 1 o'clock game, matinee game, and Vancouver players were probably up all night the night before, not really getting to sleep in a comfortable hotel, I would imagine, or just some crazy travel. Um, there was talks that they were gonna be taking a bus from Buffalo to Toronto and then flying from Toronto to Columbus, and this is all going on with them literally having to play a game at 1 o'clock the next day. So I take this win with a grain of salt. I'm not ready to claim that the Blue Jackets season is back on. They 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 got the Devils, on Friday. If they win that one, then I might be open again to the conversation of, do you go after this thing? But you don't. But anyway, Elvis gets a win. I thought he played good. He has 30 saves, on 33 shots, which was a .9 save percentage. He helps that goals against average. It was 3.25. Now it is down to 3.22. So Elvis, in his first start back since that game against the Maple Leafs at the end of December, looks good. And then there's just some wild quotes in the media today from Pascal Vincent that I don't even know. I still don't know what's going on with him in this situation. And I can tell you one thing that I've read is, and this is from all accounts, this is from, main ESN reporters, this is from TNT reporters. Nobody is interested in Elvis Merzlikins right now. There's not one team that is looking to trade for Elvis Merzlikins, which is tough because he wants out. The Blue Jackets probably want him out. He's probably good enough to where he would add actually quite a bit, but that contract is just so egregious. I mean, he's got a $5 million cap hit this year. Like that's tough for any team to take on, and I don't blame them. And he's got 3 more years left on his deal, so I don't blame teams for not wanting to go after him. At some point down the line, I think there will be somebody. Mind you, the NHL trade deadline is March 8th. So still over a month and a half before it really gets serious where teams are going to be starting to sell out for goalies. And then that's when Yarmo can probably capitalize. But for the most part, they need to keep playing him. I know Daniil Tarasov is needing to get reps still as well. And if he has to send him down to the AHL, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Bring Jet Greaves up. Maybe he can play in relief for Elvis when he plays bad. That's what I would do. But I thought Danny had a good run at times while he was getting starts in Columbus recently. But he's played a lot of hockey in a short amount of time. Hadn't played a lot of hockey for the previous 9 months. So just trust the guy and start Elvis because who knows? Okay, maybe he will go on that 6, 7 win tear. Like that's the best case scenario is for him to go on something like that. And then might be that far. That might be too little, too late at that point. But at least it would be fun. It would definitely, I would be very upset because you're probably still out of a playoff position at that point, and you're hurting your draft position. But play him. Try to see if you can squeeze some value out of him in the trade. And if not, then I don't know what you do. You don't waive him, right? Like he's too good of a player to waive the offseason. I think you just try to hope that cooler heads prevail and he starts to see kind of from a different angle what maybe the Blue Jackets were doing in the past couple of weeks by just playing Neil Tarasov. Again, I still don't know why he had as big of a gripe that he had, but I certainly understand why he might want to be out of Columbus from a perspective of the team's not really good. He's been here the last 5 years. He's not being fully given the number one goaltender position. But again, I've always said on this podcast that position is just kind of up in the air anyway. So what does it matter? He looked good against the Canucks. I don't want to get ahead of myself. He's going to play against the New Jersey Devils on Friday night. You just take it one game at a time with him. But again, some very interesting quotes in the media today. I will hit on those next. But just to, let's do that. Let's get to the quotes because I think they're questionable. They're questionable. Like what is Pascal Vincent thinking? Like I don't know if he even knows the situation going on with his own team, which is very alarming. We'll talk about it next on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I want to take a moment to thank the everydayer. You, the everydayer, you guys are awesome. We appreciate it. You're the reason why we even do this thing here at the Locked On Podcast Network. You guys are sometimes even smarter than us. You guys' points and your comments and your interaction with us on social media and on the YouTube comment section is amazing. I have a lot of fun reading those. You guys make a lot of fantastic points. And yeah, I mean, everydayers, you guys know that the situation with Elvis is just insane. You guys also know that this is not anything new. As insane as this situation with Elvis is, this is just a typical day in the life as a Blue Jackets fan. So you, the everydayer, you guys know that, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. Jay definitely appreciates it. I appreciate it, and all of us do at the Locked On Podcast Network. And continue to follow us here on also YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify, even on Twitter. But again, thank you to the everydayers who interact with us. All right, so interesting quotes in the media today. This is courtesy of Aaron Portsline. He was talking to Pascal Vincent about the Elvis Merzlikins situation. And this is from Aaron Portsline's Twitter. It says, quote, I spoke with him today. This is Pascal talking about Elvis. It says, quote, I spoke with him today. His big question was, hey, coach, when we go out west to Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle, can we modify our dress code so we can stay warm? That was our conversation today, end quote. What is going on? What, why? Why is that what Pascal chooses to share with the media? Was that kind of like hey, everything's like normal, everything's calm. This just we can't really do anything right now about Elvis' situation. We're kind of just have to ride this thing out. And that's why I said I made the comparison. Like the Elvis and the Blue Jackets are that couple that break up on vacation, like at the beginning of vacation, or I guess in the middle of it. We're in the month of January, and for all Blue Jackets fans, you guys know this season has been anything but a vacation. It has been more like a you know terrible work trip where your flight gets canceled 80 times, and that's kind of what this feels like. It's not really a vacation. It just feels like no, it feels like a miserable trip to see that side of the family that you don't really want to see, and then your flight gets delayed, and then you break up with your girlfriend along the way. That's what this feels like right now, and then you just have to suffer through it. But then you're in line for food at the airport, and you're like still like everything's normal. Like that's what this feels like right now. Pascal is talking to Elvis, and all Elvis cares about is the dress code. Like, hey, can we change the dress code up so we can stay a little warmer? And at this point, if I'm Pascal Vincent, I'm letting Elvis do whatever he wants. Okay, like listen, we're gonna keep the dress code the dress code. You can do whatever you want, though, Elvis. It's a show around here. Just have fun. No, all jokes aside, I think I gotta talk about the dress code now. I don't know how I don't address the dress code. Let the players wear they want. I think that's fine. I have always liked that players dress up for games. I think it shows you know a sign that you take your job seriously, and you appreciate and don't take for granted being an NHL player. I mean, there's plenty of media members and coaches that work through games like players. That being said, I'm also for players expressing themselves when it comes to fashion. Maybe find a middleman. I feel like the Blue Jackets have done a good job allowing players like, specifically Patrick Laine, who skated today, by the way. Patrick Laine was back on the ice. He is far from being able to play because he still has a fractured clavicle, but he's skated, so that's good. Maybe he'll be coming back within the next couple of weeks. So I've been saying that for a while now. We did get Boone Jenner back today, which is going to be good. Boone Jenner should be in the lineup. I'm reading Aaron Portsline's Twitter correctly. It looks like Boone Jenner is expected to play, coming back from the broken jaw. He's been out for quite some time. It's going to be nice to have him back for the Devils game. And I'm going to get on the Devils game, but I do want to talk about the second quote that Pascal Vincent said about According to Aaron, Sportsline, this is when, quote, things got serious. Vince said, moving forward, Elvis is our player. He's here right now. He might be here for the next 10 years. I don't know. What's been said has been said. He played good Monday versus Vancouver. He's going to play the next game, and we'll go from there. Quote. Wow, what's going on? Okay, so this is like the couple now that breaks up and makes up, breaks up and makes up. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't. And it's definitely a reaction to the fact that nobody in the NHL was interested in this Elvis trade. Nobody wants to bring on a goalie that is expensive and underperforms. I personally don't feel like he's been underperforming this year. I don't feel like his numbers are staggeringly great. I don't think they're, like, shockingly bad. I think he's just right in the middle, and based off this Vancouver game, he's getting better. I did see some of you guys on, social media say that, Elvis celebrating this hard after a win, and he gave up 2 softies. I don't know where you saw the softies at. I mean, I think if you look at the first goal, it was redirected twice. 3rd goal was Connor Garland just all alone in front of Elvis. That's a brutal spot for a goalie to be in. The player's gonna score a good hockey player is gonna score probably almost every time from that part of the ice, all alone with a goalie. And the 3rd goal was just a power play goal where, yeah, Elvis could probably kept his glove up a little bit more, and, but Elias Pettersson's one of the more elite goal scorers in the league right now, and him sliding that puck under Elvis' glove, like, I don't think that was like, "Oh, that was a brutal soft goal." I didn't really see any soft goals in the 3 that he gave up, and then he was perfect in the shootout, so I had no problem with the way Elvis played. I thought one thing he showed is that he can beat a elite team from the Western Conference. Granted, they had some travel issues, but they're a good team nonetheless. He was able to take him the distance and then finish the job in the last, period of the game, which was a shootout, and the 5th period of the game, if you will. And he looked great in overtime. Like, I thought Elvis played fine. I thought he played good, and I'm happy for him. I want him to keep playing good. I want the Blue Jackets to resurrect the situation somehow. I know the contract is great, but again, the Blue Jackets haven't he's the best goalie the Blue Jackets have had, this year and the previous year. If you don't well, not previous, it was garbage, but, garbage. It was garbage. It was trash day, for the whole season with Elvis, but this year better. This year's been a lot better, to needless to say. So, I hope that continues for the guy, and, yeah, if this situation can be resurrected, I'm definitely rooting for that, but I think that quote from Pascal is definitely just a reaction to the fact that nobody, and I mean nobody, seemed interested in trading for Elvis Merzlikins, and the league is just laughing at the Blue Jackets once again. Will the league be laughing at the Blue Jackets on Friday night when they take on the New Jersey Devils? It's the season series finale against the New Jersey Devils. Should be a fun one. We'll talk about that game next on the Locked On Blue Jackets. Our next partners at Gametime that I'd like to talk about is Indeed, and Indeed is a great place to go if you are looking to hire somebody for your business, if you're driven to search for a better hiring process. Indeed is the best place to do it. You can search for a candidate. It is super easy. You don't just search for a candidate, you match candidate with Indeed. You need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is a matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. So ditch the busy work, use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. You can even do that on there and connect with candidates faster. Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So if you are a small business owner or a big business owner, use Indeed to hire your employees. Again, listeners of the show, you guys will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/locked-on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked-on right now and support our show by saying Locked On Blue Jackets. You say that you heard it here and go to Indeed.com/locked-on. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, Blue Jackets finishing up a little stand at home here against New Jersey Devils, and then they're going out west, starting with, excuse me, starting with somebody, one of those Western Canadian teams, Edmonton, who is on fire right now. But before they go out to Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Seattle, and St. Louis, they got the Devils at home one more time. And I'm excited about this one not because I think the Blue Jackets can win this game and get back in the playoffs and get momentum, things that I've usually said on this podcast, but it's January 18th. The season's over. The best you can do for me by winning this game is, like I said, continue to make Elvis maybe feel more at home. The crowd can support Elvis. I think they should support Elvis. He's been a great goaltender for Columbus. Not necessarily with his play, at times definitely with his play, but also just the way that he's handled himself. I've really appreciated. Again, he went through a very serious situation in Columbus with Matisse Kivlenieks, and the way that he handled that with maturity and sobriety, I thought was awesome and amazing. And he made not at all amazing and awesome situation inspiring and gave a lot of fans hope. So I think he is definitely deserving of our support as fans. And it's the front office that you should be booing. Let's be honest. Let's just start booing the front office. I think that's a good way for the fan to change the vibes at Nationwide. Show that you support the players, our young players that we have on the team, by just booing the front office. Anyway, Blue Jackets taking on the Devils, and this would be fun for the Blue Jackets to win this game for two reasons. One, it's because the Blue Jackets and Devils have just had this little back and forth rivalry the last couple of years, which has been very fun, very entertaining. Again, they're a team that is like 1 to 2 years ahead of the Blue Jackets in terms of they acquired all these younger players. They did some big moves in the offseason, bringing in guys like Dougie Hamilton and Tyler Toffoli and Timo Meier at the deadline last year. And they've paired those veteran players with this younger kind of group that has just been dynamite on the ice together. I feel like that's what the Blue Jackets can be starting next year. Not this year. This year's obviously lost. But next year, the Blue Jackets can do that. That being said, you can also play spoiler in this game. That's another reason why I want the Blue Jackets to win this one. The Devils are only 2 points out of the last wild card spot. And it's kind of a logjam there in the wild card standings because if you look, there are 4 teams in the Penguins, Capitals, and Islanders and the Devils all sitting within 2 points of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So an absolute logjam. We know that over the years, the Devils have brought in an absurd amount of fans to Nationwide. I'm sure there will be a lot of Devils fans in attendance on Friday night. It would be awesome for the Blue Jackets to win that game, get the building buzzing again, and win 2 games. Win 2 games for the first time since, gosh, when was the last time they won 2 games? Oh, yeah, it was against Chicago and New Jersey at before Thanksgiving. Yes, so that's literally the last time the Blue Jackets have won 2 games in a row, and New Jersey was one of those in those 2 games. So get a dub. I think they can. Jack Hughes is still listed as week to week. He hasn't played since January 5th. That is a devastating injury for them. He's a very good player. You guys know who Jack Hughes is. He had 3 goals the last time the Devils were in Columbus. No, that's not true. He had 3 goals in the December 16th matchup against the Blue Jackets at home. The Blue Jackets also lost on the road in New Jersey 4-3 in overtime. So that was one of Elvis's more recent starts, by the way. He lost that game 4-3. Again, that was a game that he played pretty good. Just pulling up the stats right now. He can win you games, guys. Like I feel like I've been saying that, Elvis hasn't really stolen any games this year from any teams, but he's also not just completely gotten blown out in some of these games. And for that, I think he should continue to be the team's number one. I definitely think that. Let me look at how he did against the Devils the last time, which would have been at the end of December. It looks like, I don't know why I'm having a hard time finding it. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, Elvis had 31 saves on 35 shots against. So yeah, I mean that's a .886 save percentage. It's not his best, but it's also not garbage, guys. Like uh, he's good. He's good, and with Boone Jenner back in the lineup, I think anything's possible for this team. And maybe they have a little bit of momentum after that win against Vancouver. I know Cole Sillinger has definitely been a good player for this team. Like he was just buzzing against the Canucks. Igor Chinakov was on fire again. He has scored in 2 separate games against the Devils this year. Dmitry Voronkov looks good again, and then Kirill Marchenko. Like the Russians are back; they're playing good. Johnny Hockey is starting to get assists. I haven't really seen as much of Adam Fantilli. Maybe it's because he's being forced on the wing right now instead of playing center. And I know some people have a problem with that. I personally don't see it any differently than how the Blue Jackets were playing Patrick Laine at center. It's just a slight change in position. It's just to give him a different look on the ice. I know that wasn't really a good comparison because Patrick Laine at center really wasn't the best thing for this team early on this year, but I don't see anything wrong with getting Adam Fantilli some reps at wing. I think him going back to center will be like riding a bike. So I don't really mind it. And based off Pascal Vincent's system, we know that he doesn't really have a center, left wing, and right wing per se versus just having 3 forwards. So this is a game Blue Jackets can win. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win this one because even though the Devils aren't gonna have Jack Hughes out there, most likely they're still gonna have Jesper Bratt, Tyler Toffoli, Luke Hughes, who plays on the defense, and Nico Hischier. Eric Halla had a heck of a game the last time the Devils were in town, so they're still dangerous. They're still lethal. I'm gonna take the Jackets. I am gonna take the Jackets in this one, just because I want them to finally win that second game in a row. Like, come on, can we make it 2 in a row, please? Again, I'm kind of in a sweet spot because if they lose this one, you're only making your chances at getting a high draft pick better, which is not a bad thing right now. Let me take the Jackets in a 3-2 win. I think Elvis plays his best game of the season. And yeah, I think he continues to play with that fire that he's been playing with. Boone Jenner's going to be back, so you're going to get a huge boost up the middle there. Should be a good game. Should be a fun one. Again, I can't lose this one because if the Blue Jackets beat the Devils, I'm happy that Elvis got a win. I'm happy that the Devils, playoff hopes got a little bit smaller. But at the end of the day, guys, the Jackets, them losing also isn't the worst thing either. So we're in a win-win situation here. And just enjoy it while it lasts, I guess, because, well, don't enjoy it while it lasts because it's probably going to be eternity for this team before they ever have a competitor on the ice again. It definitely feels that way. And maybe it's time to make some changes in the front office position. Starting at the top. We'll start at the top with the front office position before I start to criticize the coach and some of the players. But anyway, we'll talk about the Devils game more when it comes to fruition. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can find me on Twitter at HaydenH971. Jay is on there at _JAKOBFORSTER. The show is on Twitter at LO_Blue Jackets. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please direct those to us at LockedOnBlueJackets@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.